are just finishing up, but we are going to get started. Thanks for your patience. I just want to welcome you all to the 30th anniversary of the Community Foundation of Medicine Hat in Southeastern Alberta. It is our annual Founders Day picnic, and we're celebrating 30 years. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. Another special thank you to opening musicians, the JBC Jazz Trio, consisting of Johnny, Bill, and Cam. So it's been 30 years of the Community Foundation supporting vibrant, healthy, and caring communities across the region. CFSCA's mission is to make meaningful connections between donors and local charities for the permanent benefit of Southeastern Alberta. Over the last 30 years, with the generosity of our donors, CFSCA has distributed $8,448,000 in grants supporting charities across Southeast Alberta. Before we get too far, I am pleased to welcome dear friend of mine and director of the foundation to bless and acknowledge the traditional lands we are about to celebrate on, Brenda Mercer.
Okay. Hi, so my name is Brenda Mercer. I work at the Meossin Friendship Center, and it brings me great pleasure to give you the land acknowledgements here. So we are situated on Treaty 7 and Treaty 4 territory. Traditional lands is the Sitka, Blackfoot, Kainai, Blood, Piikani, Pagan, Stoney Nakoda, and Tsuut'ina, Sarcee, as well as the Cree, the Sioux, and the Saulteaux bands of Ojibwe peoples. We also honor and acknowledge that we are on the homelands of the Métis Nation within Region 3. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. So we have I would like to welcome MLA Cypress Medicine Hat, Drew Barnes. Thank you for joining us. We have a short video that we'd like to share with you all tonight. If you just draw your attention to the back, the beautiful Hannah and the television.
30 years ago, John P. Ignatius had a long-term vision to create a community foundation that would support charities year after year, long after he was gone. With John's vision and the assistance of dedicated volunteers, the Community Foundation of Southeastern Alberta was established on June 26, 1992. Throughout the years, CFSCA has supported the community's greatest needs in the forms of grants. We have pivoted to support the community through emergency relief efforts such as floods, fires, and the COVID-19 pandemic. We have launched and celebrated many programs such as Vital Signs, the Heritage Club, Random Acts of Kindness Day, and Youth in Philanthropy. And in the last 30 years, we have distributed over $8.4 million to support vibrant, healthy, and caring communities across southeastern Alberta. We did not do this on our own. It is because of dedicated volunteers, community partnerships, and committed donors who chose to invest in a gift that lasts forever. When you make a charitable donation to the Community Foundation, it is never spent, it is invested. The investment revenue allows us to give forever. Help us celebrate our 30th anniversary by signing up as a monthly donor. Thank you to everyone who has supported CFSCA over the last 30 years. Your contributions are a gift that lasts forever. Connect with us today.
Thank you to Sydney and Hannah for putting the video together. Events like this would not be made possible without the generosity of our sponsors. Thank you to Les Jolie and Pritchard & Company for being a supporter of the Community Foundation's work for many years and generously sponsoring this Founders Day picnic since 2011. I'd like to invite Les up to do our sponsor address. Should be on for you, Les.
Thanks, Nikki. Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of Pritchard and Company, we are pleased to sponsor the Founders Day Picnic. In preparing this greeting, I was thinking about unsung heroes and thought maybe I could make a song about the donors and the recipients, kind of like a "we didn't start the fire" kind of thing. Unfortunately, I ran out of time and I don't sing. Today, you're going to see some checks handed out today. And this is an opportunity on behalf of our law firm and the community to offer thanks to those people and organizations on both sides of the checks being handed out. You fulfill an important role in making our community better. And while you don't have a song written about you yet, we certainly respect and thank you for being our local heroes. Thank you.
Thank you, Les. I am going to hold you to that next year. You got 1 year now. We need a song next year. I'm Frances Barnes. I am the chair of the board for this year. So this is my first year here, and I'm so excited that actually we get to be here for a picnic, because this was also the first time we've been able to have this picnic in 3 years. So I hope you are as happy to be here as I am, because this is just so lovely to get together. As the board chair, a little bit about myself. I moved here July 1st, it will be 35 years. And I said at the time that I was going to spend 5 years in this rinky-dink town, and then I was heading back to the city. And here I stand 35 years later. Medicine Hat is an amazing community, and it's made up of amazing people who are sitting here tonight. And I am so glad to be a part of this community. So without that, but I also want to introduce to you our board. There are 15 of us that are on this board that work very, very hard to make sure that this money gets to where it needs to go. So I will start to introduce. We have Ajit. If you are here, can I ask you to stand up? But please don't applaud until I've introduced everyone. So the first one is our vice chair, Ajit Atwald. I don't know if he's here. Cody Ivetson. He's our treasurer. He's the money guy. Cheryl Posick. She is actually out at camp right now making spaghetti dinner for 50, 60 grade 5 students. So we should maybe pray for her. Jim MacArthur. I have seen Jim. I think Jim is here. No, maybe not. Myrna Stark. Absolutely. Thanks, Myrna. Jim Vandersloot. Glenda Hawthorne. Jason Opino, he's on holidays. Brenda Mercer. Matthew Lofgren. Julie Friesen. Tyler Posick. David Andrews. And Stan Sakamoto. Thank you very much. We couldn't do it without you. Our year end is the end of June. And so this is a day we are going to recognize 5 of our board members who will be leaving us. The nice thing about I think about our board is that it is continually turning over. So we get more people, new ideas, different things. But we also have to say goodbye. So there are 5 that we are saying goodbye to today. They are our vice chair, Ajit Atwal, Myrna Stark, Jim Vandersloot, Jason Opino, and Brenda Mercer. I want to thank all of you for all that you have done. You've made this a wonderful board for us to sit on. So thank you very much. Now, we don't want to be short-staffed, so we have 5 new people that we are welcoming onto the board. They'll begin July 1st. So, and we have an external appointment committee, which we've never really been able to get it all together. But when they first formed the Community Foundation, our act says these are the people that need to be there. So it is comprised of the mayor, the senior judge. We had Ted Fisher this year, the president of the Medicine Hat Chamber of Commerce, a mayor or reeve representing a community outside of Medicine Hat, and they have chosen our new board members. We had a large number of people apply, which warmed our hearts. And these are the 5 new members I'd like you to welcome onto our board. If you are here, would you please stand? Doug Little. I know Doug's here in the back. Jennifer Ma. Ahmad Kassam. Josh Hudson. And Kim Rowe. Okay, thanks. Now, that's the board, but we're not the ones that really do all the work. We have an amazing staff that make my job so easy. I just roll in tonight and said, oh, I forgot my name tag. Rolled back, came back, and everything was here. And I want to introduce these people who are very hardworking, and we are so blessed to have them. Our great leader, Nikki Gray, the executive director extraordinaire. She is a fabulous leader. She and I have worked well together. And whenever I have a thing, I text Nikki, what's going on? Where are we meeting today? That was one of my texts. I'm sure she rolled her eyes. But Nikki is doing a fabulous job for us. So please, let's a round of applause for this, Nikki. Our community engagement coordinator is here for just a little bit longer. I don't know if you've maybe noticed, Sydney Ratzlaff is expecting shortly, but we told her she had to stay here until she got this event done. So Sydney has been with us, she's doing a great job. Barb Kentworthy is our money lady. She is over here. Stand up, Barb. She is the lady that takes care of all the checks. So love to have, whenever Barb needs me, I was like, okay, I will come sign checks. So she does a great job. Hannah Miner has been with us for a year. She just celebrated her year. She's our program coordinator and coordinator of the Cypress County. Thank you. And our newest member to our Medicine Hat office is Kevin Paul. He's a project manager consultant. He's over there, and just kind of getting to know him. He doesn't smile very much, so I'm not quite sure. I'm going to have to kind of keep my eye on him, see if I can make him smile. We also have 3 rural funds, and they have coordinators there. One of them is Sarah Weatherhead. She is with the coordinator for the rural community of 40 Mile. So she's based out in Bow Island, Foremost area. Nicole Nichols is a coordinator for Brooks and District Community Fund. And Kim Steef is the coordinator for the Prairie Crocus. And that is up Hannah, Oyen kind of area. And those ladies work very hard, so we need to give them a round of applause, please. Now, last year was a great year for the foundation, even if we couldn't get together. We had a big impact. We had a big reach. And I just wanted to highlight just some of those things that we had happen in the past year. We launched the Cypress County Community Fund. That was just recently that we were out in Dunmore, but that is a big step for us. We now really do have somebody in all of southeastern Alberta. So that was a big one. We published the 2021 Vital Focus Report, and we have the Vital Focus conversations coming up for this year. We have a growing youth and philanthropy. This is actually one of my favorite things that we do. Sydney's in charge. She goes to the schools and she says, hey, are you interested in having your students give away money? And anybody who says they want to do it, we just divide the money up by the number of classrooms, and those students then do some studying and they decide where they want to give their money to. It is an amazing adventure. So that's one of the things that is continuing to grow. We also are becoming equitable in our grant-making processes. So we're really trying to make sure that we are taking into all things into consideration. We are reaching almost, well, this was pre sort of the tanking of the stock market, but we were almost at $25 million in our endowment, our combined endowment fund, which was like, we were so close, 24 point, something. We're not quite there anymore, but we will get back there. Our last thing that we did this spring, some of you maybe had seen some advertisements. was we hired our new executive director. Nikki was our acting director, and we hired her. And it was interesting, the number of people that phoned and said, what's happened to Nikki? You haven't let Nikki go. Nikki's not going anywhere but as acting, we needed to post it. We needed to advertise. So we did get to keep. We consider that a win for us as well, was keeping Nikki on staff. Thank you. So my favorite part of this is being able to give away money. And in the past year, we distributed over $712,000 in grants to organizations across southeastern Alberta. So I always like to talk in bigger numbers. So it's almost $750,000 in 1 year. Like, this is what you do for us. Thank you. Thank you very much. At this time, we have a special presentation that we want to do. Michael Ansell was the chair before I got here. And Michael is someone who I've learned can't take no for an answer. Because when he phoned me and said, Frances, do you want to, be the new chair? No, I do not. Oh, okay. So then he phones me again. Frances, you've been thinking more about that chair? No, I do not. 3 times I said no, and here I stand. So, Michael, for anything else, he is very persistent about this. But I also have to say, this past year, I wouldn't be here without his support. There were times when I could text him and it's like, can I come down? And he's always at work. So I would meet him one time we sat on pallets outside while he'd been moving the forklift, and a couple of times we were inside the office. He has really, really been a great support for somebody who was the board chair and a very involved board chair for 7 years. The fact that he would give me the support this year has been amazing. So, I was reading through some of the policies and procedures one night when I had nothing better to do. And apparently, we can appoint someone to become a lifetime board member. And Michael Ansell is the guy. Michael, would you please come up?
Wow. I'm not usually out of words, but I'm not sure what to say. There's so many people for so many years have done so much. It's hard to accept this knowing what they did, but I can tell you it's a real honor, and I will treasure this. Thank you. Geez, now I'm flustered. Now I have to speak. Wow. Thank you, Frances. Hello, everyone. As I mentioned, my name is Michael Lansell. I have the honor and privilege to be a member of the board of this amazing organization for 7 years. 5 of those years, I was the board chair. What an honor it was to serve the board, staff, volunteers, our communities, and donors as chair. It was a pleasure to work with some of Southern Alberta's most distinguished citizens. I was always so impressed by the dedication and commitment of the board members. Board members can do 2 3-year terms. There are a few of us that managed to stay on the next year because we loved it so much. Todd O'Reilly and Neil Mays are 2 names that come to mind that we stayed an extra year. I was talking to Dean tonight, and he stayed 9 years. So there's commitment. During my time on the board, we saw some highly respected board members complete their terms. The process of assigning new board members works extremely well, as I was always amazed at the energy and commitment and willingness to work together to make the Community Foundation of Southeastern Alberta the very best it could be. I first became aware of the Community Foundation when Greg Niwa, and Greg also served 2 separate times on the board, chose Camp McCoy as the recipient of the Niawa Family Fund donation for that year. That was unexpected and most appreciated donation to assist in camp operations, and that had to be probably, I can't remember, but about 18 years ago, so it was quite a while ago. Another time, in a conversation with former Executive Director Mike Christie, Mike asked me what groups I was involved with. One of them was Camp McCoy, and we were embarking at that time on a very ambitious project of replacing our aging main lodge with a brand new $1.5 million main lodge. Mike informed me that the foundation could possibly provide funding through the foundation grant application process. I filled out an application, was very surprised and happy to receive full funding of $25,000 to be used in our new commercial kitchen. Another occasion I was working with the foundation before I joined the board was the creation of the Centennial Legacy Memorial at the bottom of Schulten Hill. That was created in 2005. I was amazed at the large number of individuals that donated to this project. This is where I started to realize the incredible importance the foundation made to so many people, both as donors and recipients. I've always felt what makes the Community Foundation different is the impact that the foundation makes in the communities that we serve. The foundation allows all of us the opportunity to leave a legacy to help our community now and perpetually into the future. We all hear about the big donors that have made a huge impact to the foundation. These donors deserve all the accolades for their incredible contribution. The fact is that the vast majority of our endowment is made up of smaller donors, like myself and possibly you. We are making a difference in lives of countless individuals in our area. My dad always told me, if the community where you live has been good to you, it's your obligation to give back to that community. Some people may not be able to help financially, but they help by volunteering. CFSCA allows everyone in Southern Alberta to give where you live. I would like to thank all the past and present board members, staff, and volunteers. Because of your efforts, the foundation is what it is today. The biggest thank you I have is for our donors. Without you, we couldn't make the difference we have for 30 years. Happy 30th birthday, Community Foundation of Southeastern Alberta. And I didn't write this down, but a lot of people have asked me what are some of my fondest memories of the foundation, and there is just so many. The staff has been excellent, but I can tell you one of them is Trish Richard. Found herself all alone in the office. We had no other staff. It was just Trish. That was a really hard time, but Trish kept it going until we could get some more staff put in place. That was definitely one time I remember, but probably amongst all the other really good stuff was probably working with Chris Christie. I mean, I only met Chris actually when she became the executive director. I'd heard her name for years and years, but we just traveled in different circles. But working with Chris was absolutely amazing. And I know Frances said Nikki makes her job easy. Well, Chris made my job really easy. So, Chris, it's been a pleasure to work with absolutely everybody, all the new staff. I love walking into the foundation and seeing the youth and the energy in that building. When I walk out, sometimes I just have to take a deep breath because that's a lot of excitement in that building. So I want to thank the ladies in there for the job they do, and the current board, fantastic. Frances, you are just a delight. Thank you, everybody. I enjoy your evening.
Okay, I now would like to call upon one of our board members, David Andrews. He is the chair of our Brooks and Districts Community Fund, and he's just going to share a little bit about what's going on out there and his experience. So please welcome David.
Thanks so much, Frances. God, I don't know what to do in the face of all this enthusiasm. It's overwhelming. But I have been asked to do two things, talk about the rural funds, and that's one. It's a very important part of what I want to talk about. But I've also been asked to talk a little bit about our founder, John Ignatius. And it's actually a baseball story, but I'll get to that. John was born in Oregon, but the year he was born, or shortly after, his family moved up to Alberta, near Etsicum, and then moved to Seven Persons. John was never far from the land till the day he died. He was always a farmer and a cattleman. Had several ranches, one out by Jenner, and he had a place in the late 70s at Antelope Creek, which is just west of Brooks. And that's where I got to know John, because I was one of his neighbors. We ran cattle together in the same pasture. And I was a young guy, and he was a great mentor for me to have in those years, and a really great old guy to ride the range with. John wasn't he wasn't a major league baseball player. He was probably a baseball player, but he loved baseball. He loved baseball. And in the 1990s, John was around this part of the world, had a ranch in the Cypress Hills. He always told me he wanted to go have a place in the Cypress Hills, and he finally made it. But he wanted to do something for baseball in southern Alberta, in the Medicine Hat area. And he had a little money. And he decided to set up a fund to encourage the sport of baseball in this area. And he wanted it to be a permanent legacy. And so when he figured out that one of these newfangled things called community foundations would enable him to do what he wanted to do, which was set up a permanent legacy, a fund that would help young people learn how to play baseball in perpetuity, he thought that was what he was going to do. And one thing you could count on with John Ignatius, if he was around, by God, something was going to happen. And he got the job done. $25,000 for a baseball fund in the Community Foundation of Southeast Alberta from John Ignatius, and that's how we started. And then when John passed away on January the 8th in 2000, he left in his estate more than $2.4 million to the Community Foundation of Southeast Alberta. I was just watching the slide there and the progression, and we started with $25,000, and then there was the $2.4 million, and then there was 5, and then there was 10. And as Francis pointed out, this is the year we're going to hit $25 million. That's a lot. That's amazing for this part of the world to come up with that kind of money. It's a very compelling argument. We use this all the time now that we're talking to people out in the outlying areas outside of Medicine Hat. I come from Brooks and County of Newell, and people love that concept of an enduring legacy for themselves to leave during their lifetime and after they're gone, something that lasts forever. I think John would be proud to see how far we've come over the past 30 years. And I think he'd be happy to know now that the rural communities are also receiving a strong representation in the region. Being a rancher and a rural Albertan himself, I hope the 4 rural community endowment funds would make him smile. I know what he'd say. What took you so long? In 2018, as was pointed out, the Community Foundation Board, which meets here in Medicine Hat, decided that they really did need to make an effort to increase the profile of the Community Foundation outside of the city of Medicine Hat. And so they built a plan, did some research, and found some interested parties in various parts of southeastern Alberta to form ad hoc, if you like, but inaugural committees for the community funds. We were one of the first ones. Chris and her partner that came to see us. It was, they came in absolutely cold to our community. Nobody, I knew a little bit about the Community Foundation because I was a grant writer for a historical park, and I had been successful in getting a few grants, but very few people knew anything about the Community Foundation. Well, more and more and more they do. We're making grants. In fact, our community fund is having a celebration similar to this in our community next Thursday, and you're all invited. Come down. We're having it at the engineer's house in Brooks, Alberta. So this has been hugely successful. I see Michelle McLean is here. And Michelle was one of the first community fund coordinators for the 40 Mile County Community Fund. And she just did, those gals just have done an amazing job. They only work 15 hours. Well, they only get paid for 15 hours a week. But it's been a huge success and a credit to the board of directors of the Community Foundation of Southeast Alberta for taking that initiative. It's one of the things that over time will help us build that endowment past 25 million to 50. And that's where we're headed. Thank you.
Okay, now we're moving on to the really fun part. This is where we get to talk money. We get to hand out all these checks. It's my favorite part of sitting on the board. So to start things off, I actually am going to call up an organization that won our Community Impact Award last year, 2021. But they never really had an opportunity to tell you about what they're doing. And this is a very interesting organization and a grant that they got. So this organization is called Medicine Hat and Cycling Without Age. So they're going to come up and they're going to talk about their Trishaw bikes. I'd like to introduce to you Julie Lacasse and Dan Hager. Please come up and join me and tell us about your story.
Hello. So take a moment and just reflect on your life right now, how life is often so busy with the to-do list, the multitasking, going fast and never ending. But one day, things will slow down. It will be very quiet. And day after day will be the same thing over and over. Well, can you just imagine if you're at that stage of your life and somebody is offering you to go for a tricycle ride, to go outside, to get to meet people and wave to people, reconnect with community, get to see beautiful Medicine Hat landscapes, get to feel the sun on your cheeks and the wind in your hair, and go for an ice cream cone and just do these fun things? Well, thanks to the Community Foundation Southeastern Alberta, they are making this possible. We were able to buy 3 beautiful tricycles and all the safety equipment to make this possible, helmets and everything. And we will start taking people for tricycle rides this end of July, beginning of August. We would have loved to start earlier, but unfortunately our trishaws that have been purchased and paid and everything, they are waiting on the ocean on the coast of Vancouver, just waiting for a spot on the port to come. But they will be coming. And when they arrive, Dan will be assembling them. He will be testing them with a little team of people. We are going to start training 40 pilots to allow for people not to go for one ride, but to go as many rides as they would like to. And thank you to the Cypress View Foundation, who agreed to have their staff and help us in making this possible. So they will be their test facility. So we are going to be testing this to make sure, that we can walk before we start running, and the staff is very dedicated to help us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We're so excited. And I have to say, Cycling Without Age is under, Medicine Hat is under Bike Medicine Hat, and it's a movement that started in Copenhagen in 2012, and it took off really quickly. There's over 50 countries right now running it, and in Canada, there are about 80 cities that have chapters, and we are one of them now, and we're very excited. So very soon, hopefully, you'll get to see us on the trail, and hopefully you'll have loved one, or even yourself will be able to enjoy some rides. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Julie and Dan, for sharing. We're so excited to witness the impact the Tri-Shaws will have in our community. I don't know if they're still looking for volunteers, if they're full of volunteers. Okay, and it's just a pilot project, so it's only going to grow from here. So thank you for bringing Cycling Without Age to Medicine Hat. I'd like to welcome Myrna Stark, Director of the Foundation and Chair of the Community Leadership Committee, to present our $30,000 Community Impact Award. May I ask any CLC committee members who might be here, just please stand up. I think Lance, Marco, Rachel. Thank you.
Thanks, Nikki. Our Community Impact Award application and process was recently changed to distribute one large grant that could truly make an impact. The Community Impact Award is a grant awarded to one agency that has an innovative project idea, demonstrates creativity and leadership, and supports vibrant, healthy, and caring communities. This year, in celebration of our 30th anniversary, Community Foundation of Southeastern Alberta allocated $30,000 instead of the regular $25,000 for this award. Using information from our 2021 Vital Focus Report, agencies who address the priorities of work and economy, mental health, and vulnerable populations, specifically food security, housing stability, and domestic violence, were invited to apply. 4 out of 10 organizations were then selected to present their projects to our committee in person. The Community Leadership Committee and Board of Directors would like to present the $30,000 Community Impact Award to the Samus Immigration Services Association for their Circles of Care project. I'd like to call forward Executive Director Mariana Agisik and Financial Manager Sonia Tor. Thank you.
Thank you so much to the Community Foundation, to the committee, and of course to the donors for this great privilege for being a recipient of this grant. This project is actually a partnership between Samus Immigration Services and the Local Immigration Partnership. The idea for it actually originated from the Local Immigration Partnership Newcomer Needs Assessment, where it was clearly indicated that we need a project called Supporting for Those New to Town. The project was meant to be kind of a longer-term project, and we thought we had a few years to kind of plan and execute it eventually. So the working group was formed. But then the crisis in Ukraine happened, and we had to kind of expedite the process and modify the original model a little bit to kind of focus on the vulnerable population and specifically Ukrainian evacuees arriving in our city. So, but not to forget the original idea, we thought it would be a great idea to launch this program as a pilot project and use its outcomes eventually to build much bigger project that will still be supporting those new in town and will be focusing on all newcomers eventually. The project is envisioned as a coordinated effort to combine volunteer efforts and service providers' resources. And the goal of the project is to connect Ukrainians and other vulnerable newcomers to local resources, to integrate them into our local community, to connect them to the volunteers, and help them that way to increase their sustainability and chances for success. And that way to improve their mental health by developing a sense of belonging. The project will be working with approximately about 50 Ukrainian evacuees that we are expecting to arrive in our city, but also will mobilize about 60 to 100 volunteers and 20 to 50 other service providers and different organizations. So thank you again. We are really honored and humbled by this privilege. I just wanted to add to Francis' comment. Francis, you gave this city 5 years. I gave it a year. And here I am 28 years later. This is an amazing community. It really welcomes you with an open heart, and we hope that this project will continue that legacy and will build a welcoming and inclusive communities, not just for Ukrainians, but for many more newcomers arriving to our city. Thank you again.
Thank you both. We're so excited to be able to expand our welcoming committee to Ukrainian evacuees to Medicine Hat. I'd like to introduce Joanne Stickle. She is on our grants committee as a volunteer community member and a rock star. Joanne and the other rock star, Barb, are going to be presenting our Spring 2022 community grants. Those present from the Grants Committee, I don't know how many we have, but if you are here, please stand, Glenda, and give a wave. Our Grants Committee is actually made up of board members and community members, and it's not just Glenda.
But she's really good. She is really good. Thanks, Nikki. I'm here tonight representing Cheryl Posick, who is the chair of our committee. She's out making spaghetti dinner for 50. I'm here at the Community Foundation. I think I got the better deal. We're starting the presentation tonight with our community grants, which count for half of the funds we distribute annually. These grants are awarded to the charities selected by a thorough and extensive review process completed by our grants committee. These grants are made possible by the generosity of CFSCA donors who support our community's greatest needs. So again, thank you, donors. So this is the fun part, Francis. Let's get started. Yes. All right. The Bee Youth Center provides free programming that gives Medicine Hat and area youth the opportunity to try something new, meet friends, and participate in the community, all while enjoying social recreational activities. This year, the Bee Youth Center applied for funding to create sustainable transportation for their youth members. This grant will help them purchase bus passes for youth who would otherwise be unable to attend the center for their programming. They are receiving a $3,200 grant for sustainable transportation. Representing the Bee Youth Center is Executive Director Amanda Sears. Food and Wellness Hub's mission is to build community by improving the lives of all community members through the power of local food. Their Food First program is a 12-week program that teaches families how to prepare nutritious meals and snacks. Their hand-up, not hand-out approach has proven to move people out of the system by building community, which gives families the opportunity to become self-sufficient and successful long-term. The application was approved for $15,000. Here to accept this grant is Melissa Mullis, Interim Executive Director, and Mel Earl, Board Member. Junior Achievement Southern Alberta inspires and prepares young people to succeed in a global economy. They provide experiences that promote the skills, understanding, and perspective that students will need to succeed in a global economy to become productive, contributing members of society. The Community Foundation has awarded them a $17,240 grant for their financial literacy and entrepreneurship programs in Southern Alberta. Representing Junior Achievement is Valerie Fraser, the Regional Coordinator. The Medicine Hat Women's Shelter Society supports individuals who have experienced family violence by providing a safe shelter, education, advocacy, and access to community resources. They are committed to social change by providing programs and services that promote treating all people with respect and dignity. During the pandemic, the shelter identified a gap in services for victims of domestic violence. They will now implement a texting and web chat support to their 24-hour helpline with the contribution of the $10,000 grant from the Community Foundation. We'd like to invite Ryan Thorburn, board member from the Medicine Hat Women's Shelter, to receive this grant. Big Brothers, Big Sisters provides life-changing mentoring relationships to ignite the power and potential of young people. Youth with mentors do better in school, lead healthier lives, and give back to society. The Community Foundation would like to present a $6,000 grant for their new Life Skills Group Program to assist youth ages 15 to 18 with simple skills and tools to allow them to transition into social settings. This grant was partially funded by the Danny Cook Memorial Field of Interest Fund. We invite Ashley Holden and Melissa Pearl with Big Brothers and Big Sisters to accept this grant. The Medicine Hat Pregnancy Support Society, also known as Nurture, assists those facing challenges by providing compassionate and caring assistance in the areas of emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual health about pregnancy and parenthood. During these challenging times, Nurture has seen an increase in the need for baby formula and diapers. This $12,000 grant will help support approximately 200 children from newborn to age 2. Here to receive the funds are grant writer Gabriella Carrion and board members Brenda and Keith Knodel. PopUp Parks, doesn't that sound like fun? PopUp Parks promotes sustainable living, outdoor activities, art, and music within the community. They target vacant, neglected lots, turning them into community-friendly, green, and vibrant outdoor spaces with things such as edible gardens, street art canvases, and outdoor music venues. With this $10,000 grant from the Community Foundation, PopUp Parks will work towards transforming the outdoor community space at the Community Housing Townhouse Complex in Southridge. we'd like to invite members Dina Jubrak, Kaylee MacArthur, and Michelle Keane to accept this grant. St. Joseph's Home was opened in 1951 and provides a safe and secure assisted living program, respite care, and palliative care services in Medicine Hat. To support this level of care, St. Joseph's needs medical equipment to provide the help that residents and patients require to maintain their quality of life. An example of this equipment is in the home palliative An example of this equipment is in the Home Palliative Bed Program, which the Community Foundation has awarded them a $10,000 grant. Here to accept the grant is board member at St. Joseph's Home, John Paya. The Redcliffe Senior Centre Society aims to help aging persons achieve the highest possible quality of life through enabling integration of seniors into all facets of the community, including recreation, exercise, and social activities. Their seniors exercise program was approved for full funding of $2,560, which will provide seniors the opportunity to participate in bi-weekly chair fitness classes. I would like to welcome Lynn Goshak to accept a grant of $2,650 for the Seniors Exercise Program in Redcliffe. The Medicine Hat SPCA provides protective care for sick, injured, homeless, and unwanted animals and promotes humane attitudes and responsible pet ownership. The SPCA received a grant of $1,500 to support their emergency boarding program to allow pet owners to board their animals while owners deal with and navigate through crisis or problem situations. We'd like to invite Executive Director Tom Kearney, Board President Jackie Peterson, and Vice President Linda Tooth to accept this grant. The Venture Society provides physical, emotional, and intellectual enrichment of participants with developmental disabilities. The Medicine Hat teams go to Elkwater and Cypress Hills Provincial Park every day. They help clean up the Cypress Hills Park and keep it beautiful. Their grant was fully funded to purchase waste bins and dog waste bags, as these are necessary tools for their volunteer efforts to continue. I would like to welcome Executive Director Ed Querying and Venture Society representatives, Sonia Gretchen, Mitch MacDonald, and Chuck McDonald, they said they're Mick and Mac, to accept a grant of $8,280 for the beautification of Cypress Hills Park. For more than 60 years in Alberta, the Canadian Mental Health Association has focused on recovery and support for Albertans impacted by mental illness. To support their ongoing suicide prevention training courses, CMHA received a $15,000 community grant to help subsidize the cost of this training for participants. This will improve registration and allow more people in our community the ability to recognize the signs of suicide ideation. Here to accept the grant is Executive Director Lyndon Grunwald and Post Manager Trish Richard. Samus Immigration Services Association has been serving new Canadians in Medicine Hat for 34 years. Their mission is to assist in the integration, adjustment, and resettlement of immigrants and refugees in the community of Medicine Hat. Samus Immigration received a $10,000 grant to install a high-flex hybrid learning system. This educational technology will allow for simultaneous learning both in person and online for students. I would like to welcome Executive Director Mariana Agisik and Financial Manager Sonia Tour to accept this grant. Hatters Help Ukraine is a group of dedicated volunteers who band together through community-wide support to welcome Ukrainian evacuees to Medicine Hat. This group of volunteers set out with a goal of $50,000 to help cover the initial cost of transportation, housing, and food for Ukrainian families fleeing a tragic situation. The Community Foundation established a flow-through fund, which is administered through the McMahon Youth, Family, and Community Support Services. The funds raised for this project will not be endowed with the Community Foundation. Rather, it will simply flow through to support the urgent need. The Grants Committee and Board of Directors took this opportunity to allocate $8,735 from the community grants to support this project. Would Hatters Help Ukraine Representative George Kovalev please come forward to accept this check? Tracy Muchler, Executive Director of McMahon, sends her regrets. We dispersed approximately $290,000 with our community grants this cycle, but also distribute almost as much funding through our designated donor-advised grants and youth in philanthropy grants. The Community Foundation would like to acknowledge one of our founders' funds and the grant recipient who joins us here today. On behalf of the late John P. Ignatius, CFSCA founder, we would like to invite Stan Sakamoto to present a grant from the TX Ranches Fund.
Good afternoon. My name is Stan Sakamoto. I've had the privilege of knowing about John Ignatius during his early years with the foundation. For John, the love of baseball and the dream to support youth forever was a driving force for him to form what we know today as the Community Foundation of Southeast Alberta. In 1998, John established the TX Ranches Baseball Fund with an initial $40,000 donation to support the Friends of Medicine Hat Youth Baseball Society. This year, 30 years later, the scholarship has now distributed over $46,000. The scholarship distributions have surpassed the original donation and will continue to support youth, baseball today, tomorrow, and forever. I would welcome Lovell McDonnell with the Medicine Hat Big League Baseball Association to accept the scholarship of $2,330 from the John Ignatius TX Ranches Fund. Lovell is known as Mr. Baseball in Medicine Hat. Come on up, Lovell.
This spring, we are dispersing over $45,000 to various school districts in our region, plus $16,000 towards our Youth in Philanthropy program. Some of the more notable and large scholarships funds include the James and John McConnell Scholarship, which will disperse $21,580 to the Chinook School Division this year. The Valley Family Scholarship Fund will distribute $6,030 to the Grasslands Regional School Division, and the Chief Gordon Earl Leadership Legacy Fund will distribute $2,200 to various Medicine Hat school districts. All scholarship checks have already been sent by mail to the appropriate recipients in order for schools to prepare the scholarships for the end of the school year. This 2022 grant cycle, CFSCA, has distributed over $490,000. That gives me goosebumps. All of this is made possible because of our donors' continued generosity. Please join me in applauding our donors who make the work we do as a foundation possible. Thank you very much.
Okay, I know we're running over time, and I really am just here to do final thank yous. So we've had speakers, we've had donors, we've had grant recipients, community supporters, all of you for coming. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We would not be here if it wasn't for you. On the way out, we have some trees, and we encourage you to take one and to plant it. Remember the quote from Warren Buffett, who said, "Somebody is sitting in the shade today because somebody planted a tree a long time ago." And that's what the Community Foundation is about. Somebody, John Ignatius, 30 years ago, gave money, and we sit today and give away almost $400,000 this granting cycle. So please take that. As we end our 30th anniversary Founders Day picnic, please, we're reminded of the generosity of our donors and to continue the gift that lasts forever. The Community Foundation has dispersed over $8.4 million in the past 30 years that have gone to Medicine Hat and southeastern Alberta. We just keep growing. I have one thing I want to sort of leave with you tonight that I hope that you will remember and think about long into this evening. And this is it. Ba-da-ba-dum, beep, beep, be-dee-bee. Ba-da-ba-dum, beep, 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 beep. Good night. Thank you very much for coming.